Hello, everyone. This is a special for Sterling-Lancaster Television. I'm here with Sarana and Camille of That's Entertainment. We're here today to talk about their great store. I've been a fan of comic book stores all over. I try to go to every one every time in every town that I could go to. And Datsy is one of those that really stands out. And I'm really glad that they have the opportunity to kind of come here and talk about their very fun store. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So tell me about That's Entertainment. How did it all start?
Oh, well, it started nearly 40 years ago in 1980. The store opened originally in Worcester, just a little further away than where it is now, over on Chandler Street, corner of Queen and Chandler. And it's funny, the owner, Paul Howley, he opened the store, and he had his small shop over there, but then about 9 years later, he moved it to Park Avenue. And he never thought they were going to fill up the store because it was like such a big space for him. And he said, we're never going to fill it up with stuff. And now it's like we run out of room constantly. So it's like, he said, I'm never going to be able to fill up this place. But, 40 years later, it's like this, you go in there and there's so much stuff. So he started the business with just his own love of comic books, and his first comic was Batman that he got as a kid, and then that basically sparked his interest in superhero comics, and the rest is history. And since then, That's Entertainment has worked hard to bring pop culture to the community, and through just reaching out through the product itself and creating a community around events and so forth.
Okay. What are your roles in the store?
So I am the marketing manager, and
my role's kind of multifaceted. I'm a facilitator, which means I'm a supervisor. I'm sort of an HR assistant as well. And then I also run the board game and RPG department.
Okay. So what is it like being part of working for a comic book store? You see a lot of TV shows and movies, and it seems to have people tend to think it has a very Karen Smith type of flair with a lot of jokes and crazy stuff happening. What's it like?
Well, there's definitely a little bit of that. We're joking all the time because, part of the great part about our job is that we get to talk about pop culture, and it is laid back, and we do goof around. But unlike those Clerks and so forth, we're not quite as edgy as that. And there's a mission that we want to accomplish, and it's we keep it family friendly, and it's still very much we want to orient the store to be a family friendly event store. So everyone is welcome, and we do not exclude anybody, and that is something we aim to do every single day. So, but we do tell jokes at the end of the day, though it's still a job, and we take it professionally, we take it seriously. So wouldn't you say? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Paul used to use the term the friendly neighborhood comic shop. Like, he never wanted to be the comic shop where you would come in and you wouldn't know a lot, and the guy at the register would make fun of what you bought. Like, we always want to be the person across the counter going like, oh, I love this issue, the art on this is really cool. Like, we want people to feel good about the things they like, because it's awesome to like things.
Okay.
Yeah, people come to the store, and it's like we become bartenders. Like, they want to talk to us about their day, about their interests, and we're there to listen, and we encourage it. We encourage their love, their passion for comic books, pop culture, whatever department in our store, because we have so much more than just comics. As you know, we sell board games, records, video games. So we get people with all kinds of interests who want to share those interests with us.
Okay. So what challenges do you, working for the store, what challenges do you, as a business, go through? I know sometimes with today's environment, work environment, that, there's a lot of like online stores you have to compete with. I know some stores have struggled with that. How do you keep up being a store in the 21st century?
Well, it's definitely difficult. The online market does pose to be a competition for us, to be competition. But unlike the online shopping experience, we offer a very different experience. We offer a more personal touch. We're people that we can, there's employees working in every single department, and they specialize in those departments. So when you come up, you can ask us for a recommendation. We're going to offer you a recommendation. We'll pair you up with the best thing possible that you're looking that you either need, like for board games. I get people who are asking me, like, what do you recommend? Because there's so many, there's hundreds and hundreds of board games. So I ask them questions. I start, it's like pairing, I always say this, but I feel like I'm pairing like a fine wine with cheese or, a meal. It's like finding that perfect board game to match the person, the customer. And that's kind of how we all treat our departments. We really want to help the customer, and we walk them to the area. We show them what is available based on and match their the product to their interests. So, and that is something I think that you don't get online. You don't get that hands-on approach. And but also on top of that, I would say that other things that the online community doesn't do is give you that community building. So we run several events at the store, and that's still something that I think people will come out to the stores for.
Speaking of events, I've noticed that Datsy puts out a whole bunch of different things, from card games and role-playing games and so forth. What's the attendance has been like? What has made you decide to go in that direction?
Well, what do you think? I mean, we've had so she's been running the board game, the D&D Adventures League that we run on Monday evenings. And what is your attendance on that?
Pretty good. That one we had people, we didn't do it for a few years, and we constantly had people coming in asking if we could do it, because the big challenge for D&D players is always finding a group, particularly since we're surrounded by colleges, and you have a whole lot of people who can't play with their home groups anymore, so they're looking for people. The attendance for us is great. We have 6 groups. We host 3 every Monday, and we alternate the Mondays. So sort of like one group plays the first Monday, the other group plays the second Monday. There's probably 6 people to a group, and then 3 groups, so that's 12 and about 24, 25 people. And I have like a wait list typically of about 10 people waiting to be placed in groups as we get either new game masters or new event days.
And that's just one particular event we run, and so attendance has been great, for all of our events. Newer events at the store have been Pokemon. We started running Pokemon about a year ago, and I'm always like blown away because we've been getting more and more people for Pokemon. We run Magic 3 times a week at the store. We do board game demos once a month. Typically speaking, it's usually at the end of the month. And then we do the annual celebrations. We do Free Comic Book Day. We do Record Store Day. And these are all big celebrations that kind of honor different parts of our store, which brings out definitely the fans, the record fans, the comic book fans, and so forth. So the events get a lot of attendance, but we also definitely push our events, and we want to get the word out there. So we spread it, and we go crazy on social media and so forth, and we get people to subscribe to our newsletter and find out when things are going, when sales are happening, and so forth. So
Okay, now you're one of the few comic book stores, at least that I'm aware of, that you have two locations. You have one in Worcester and you have one in Fitchburg. What's it like running 2 stores? Is that difficult, or is that challenging in any way?
Well, it's only challenging for me as the marketer to stay in sync with them too, and we're gonna do this sale. Are you guys okay with doing that sale? But as far as how things go between the 2 stores, they definitely have their own image and they're even though they're a branch of us, they're still the That's Entertainment brand. They're definitely unique in their own way. They have their own personality, and although they're half the size of our main store, of our sister store, I don't know, would we be the mother store? But they are our sister store. They opened up about 10 years later. They're going to be celebrating their 30th anniversary. So even though they are a brand, it's the same brand, it's definitely, they bring something different to the table, and their stores, set up a little differently. It's a little more fancy, I would say. We have that more basement maybe feel with the concrete, but they have that nice retail, like carpeted, more sleek design. And they have open gaming space, so that's been popular for them. So people can come in and play whenever they like. Well, pretty much whenever they like. Whenever there's opening, they run events constantly too. So between the two stores, you've always got something to do. There's like you want to go out and play a game. There's usually a night where you can go between any of the two stores and play a game. So.
Okay. So, concerning the comic books that you guys sell, I've noticed that some stores, they've diminished that and maybe put up like more video games. As you know, some of the comic book industry is struggling a little bit. But I've noticed with your stores, you have like wall-to-wall comic books all over, and graphic novels as well. What does your store do, you think, that maybe other stores, or what do you think is the secret of that keeps bringing in comic book fans to your store?
The secret to bringing comic book fans in, well, so unlike other stores, we have not just comic books. We sell numerous other products as well. So anyone coming in can also shop for someone's birthday or for, have a gift in mind for someone, and they can get it all there. So it's like a one-stop shop. And so I'm sure that definitely helps. It helps to be versatile in what you offer in your store. So if you're just a comic book store, it does limit you it does limit your audience, I would say. And having those being multifaceted definitely helps. Besides that, I would say that there is a large comic community already established with the store, and that just kind of spreads on to the next person, the love. And then with colleges being around us, because we are in a college town, we have about 5 colleges within walking distance, something like that. And we get a lot of mixed between college and older crowds that are all into comics. We have the older crowd, I want to say around the 30s, 40s, that have been reading comics for a long time, come in, and they can rely on us to provide comics consistently to them each week, and they come to pick up their subscription boxes. And then with the college crowd, we have new people who are coming in, and they find us because they're looking for a store like ours, and they come there and they discover that they can, I have a place where I can go get my comics and get my pop culture needs. And I might have come in for video games, but now I'm into comics, because I have comics I can try out. So it's like, it feeds into itself by having a versatile store. And definitely the film industry has helped tremendously with all the movies that have come out that have been superhero related, and has created exposure to comic books. So people are now coming into the store to read origin stories, and they want to know, who is Shazam, who is Captain Marvel, who is, so forth, Deadpool. And then we'll guide them to the comic book racks and say, here you go. Here's like a trade paperback. You got 12 issues in this one book, and you'll know enough to get going. So, yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask you a silly question. I know the answer of, but the audience may not know. How kid-friendly is your store?
Very. But we have like a big sign right when you walk in, like, keep all your language G-rated. We want to make sure none of the staff or any of the customers are making it a place where kids don't feel safe. We have that awesome kids area.
Yep.
One of my favorite questions I ever get asked is, like, Dad will come in and he's got like 2 13-year-old girls in tow, and he's like, I need some comics that these guys can read. And like, we'll take the time to sit down, we'll flip through it with parents, find the stuff that's like kid appropriate, and even like some really good series too.
Yeah, I would say it is very kid friendly. There's definitely things there that are not kid friendly, but we try to put them in the back of the store, and I do a Facebook Live video of all the new comics that come out every week. So I run people through the releases on the rack, and I do 2-part videos. So I have an adult one for the comics that are really printed by independent publishers like Dark Horse and Image and so forth, but we have a separate video. So we were even conscious in our marketing, like when we do things like that, we want to make sure that it is a safe place for kids and families to go, and they're not going to see anything that's unfriendly or to them, or and definitely by asking folks to keep the language friendly, it makes it helpful and inviting. So
Okay. All right. Excellent. So what is next for DATC? What's the future? What will we see happening to DATC 5, maybe 10 years from now?
Oh, that's a question.
Or maybe I should say, what would you like to see happen?
I would say a growth of what we have now. Just keep the tradition, the spirit alive. More of what we're doing, and it's hard to say. Basically, I would like us to stick through it and be tough and survive the internet age and continue with events. And I think that we're on a good track. And if it keeps going this way, I think we'll be staying strong. We won't be going anywhere soon, I don't think. So, what do you think, Camille? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. To keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So, well, thank you very much. But before we wrap up, can you tell us where your stores are located and where can we find them online?
Absolutely. So our Worcester location is at 244 Park Avenue in Worcester, Massachusetts. Our Fitchburg location is at 56 John Fitch Highway in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. And you can go to www.thatsy.com to find out more about our store, and you'll see a list of our events. You can also sign up for our newsletter at the top of the homepage, and that way you'll get emails direct to your inbox with updates on all of our events, sales, and tons more.
Excellent. So, yes, thank you all. Thank you for coming, and thank you for watching. And we hope to see you again. If not here, then at That's Entertainment. This is Manny with Sterling-Lancaster Television signing off. Thank you very much. Welcome. Today I'm here with Sarana and Camille from That's Entertainment, and we're going to talk a little bit about this great game called Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. But before we talk about that, let's talk about some of the origins behind this. Sarana, this is based on something else, right?
It is. It is based on Betrayal at House on the Hill, which came out, a long time ago now. But that is very similar to this game. There are some minor changes that happened. In this particular game, there are just some slight mechanical changes, but overall it is like a copy of the Mansions of Madness. Mansions of Madness. That is another game, but Betrayal at House on the Hill is very similar. And Betrayal at House on the Hill is a board game set in a creepy house. It is a mansion full of horrors, and the players, which it's a game that plays 3 to 6 players. So this isn't a 2-player game. You got to have a group to play with, and it's more fun. Like, you maximize the amount of players because it's a lot more fun that way. But you are exploring this dark mansion, one room at a time. You're going through creaking hallways, mysterious elevators, and just the mansion. Imagine your typical horror scene where there's lightning outside and there's howling in graveyards and such. It's kind of that setting, and you'll be exploring one tile at a time. You'll be going through a room one tile at a time, which makes the game endlessly replayable, which is what I love about that game, about this game and that game. You are.
Now, it's not a role-playing game. It's a board game, right?
It is a board game, but it's very much a role-playing game, too. It is a contained role-playing game. So you've got like a role-playing game in a box, and it is a co-op game. So there are many elements that are going to be similar to a role-playing game in that aspect, because you're working together, and as you play the game, you reveal omen cards, or reveal omens, and they come out as on the tiles, and then you draw the omen cards, and you hope that you roll lower than the amount of omen cards that are out on the table, because once the haunt happens, which is triggered by these omens, the something happens. I don't know if you're familiar because you've played, right?
Yes.
So what happens is like the overall haunt of the haunted house happens. So that means that the party splits into two groups, and it'll be the survivors. And actually, we have the two tomes that you're going to use like as examples here, very similar like in Betrayal and House on the Hill. And the survivors who are going to be working together are going to get one book, and they'll open and read the scenario, and then the betrayer, the bad guy in the game, the guy who's gonna try and kill you all, is gonna take the tome on for him or her and read their scenario, and they're gonna meet back up at the table, and they're gonna try and figure out, what they're going after. So the bad guy is told one thing, may not get the whole story, but as the game plays out, we'll find out more about the survivors and what they're trying to get from him or her, and the survivors have to go through the missions to take down the bad guy and, maybe take like a special ring from them, or there's 50 scenarios in the game in both of the versions, so like you endless, like I said, endless replayability. You just keep playing so many different storylines, and it's random each time, so it keeps it exciting, and you can get really into the spirit of the game with the role playing. You can immerse yourself into the mansion and pretend you're in this creepy house. And in Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, very similar, except that you're going through catacombs and a dungeon, and it's all like creepy and scary, and imagine torture chambers and things like that. So
and murder. Don't forget about murder.
So yeah, I mean, these are great atmospheric games, and you are essentially playing a mini role-playing game. Oh, so these are just some of the pieces. They're not all out on the table, but we have character players, which are these represented by these miniatures. We have, and then each miniature, the miniature will be played on the board. So the board comes out with these tiles, and on your turn, you're going to draw a tile. You put together, you try to match rooms, so doorways match with other doorways. It's not necessary, but then if you don't have a doorway that matches, then, your players won't be able to go there. So, it's something you want to think about, not just for yourself for progress in the game, but for other folks too. And these are the things you will get with your player. And this will keep track of your might, sanity, speed, and knowledge, which every character will start off with different levels of in that regard. So some of you are going to be weaker in one area or stronger in other areas, which when you work together, you'll have to figure out, if you are weaker in one area, maybe you need to be at a certain place at a certain time because you have to be in the background and the stronger characters need to defend you, or maybe they've picked up some really strong items and they've got to, you've got to stand your guard and act as the defensive or the offensive, depending on where you are in the game. And all of your attacks are determined by dice rolls, just like in D&D and other RPGs. And so that's what some of these components are. And like I said, these are the starting tiles for Baldur's Gate.
So it sounds like this is a good game. So that, let's say you want to play D&D, but the game is delayed, or you have some time to kill. This sounds like a good hour and a half game to play with to kind of keep the spirit of it going.
Oh yeah, so this is perfect for anybody who doesn't have time to play an actual role-playing game, which requires a weekly commitment or monthly commitment. This is something you can play in one night, and you can basically get the same kind of feel in just an hour or 2 hours, and you come out of it being like, that was super fun. I felt like I was there. I was it's not quite role-playing, but it's as close as you can get with a board game, I'll say. So.
Excellent. Well, I hope this has been informative to you. I've played this a couple of times, and it's been loads of fun. Nothing like playing a game where one of you could be the bad guy all along, and you're trying to solve a puzzle of how to defeat the person. It's not a cooperative game that way. I don't know, but if you enjoy a lot of intrigue and murder mystery stuff and things like that, and D&D, of course, this is the game for you. So yeah, again, thank you, Sarana. Thank you, Camille. If you want a copy, you probably could find one also at That's Entertainment, located in Worcester and Fitchburg. You can find it at that'se.com.
That's right. And we're located at 244 Park Avenue in Worcester, Massachusetts, and at 56 John Fitch Highway in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. And these games are available at either store. And if you want to know about more games, just ask Camille and I. We're always happy to help assist folks finding a game that they will love.
Thank you very much, everyone.